Hello friends, my name is Aida, and I want to tell you about my relationship with my boyfriend Nathan. He and I had been dating for a little over a year, and we were getting ready to get married, until one but came along. An epic, nasty but. Have you ever noticed that good conversations change when a but comes into a sentence? Who created this weird union anyway? It hurts the conversation. For example, honey, you're the most beautiful girl, but you could use the gym once in a while. Or, I love you more than anyone, but we should take a little break. What the hell? Anyway, that part of the convo ruined it for me. How? I'll tell you all about it. Just give me some motivation. All you have to do is like my story and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all very much. So, my boyfriend Nathan and I met a year ago at a very cool and fancy party. It was my classmate's birthday party. I got there in my new car, a Jaguar, wanting to impress everyone. But as soon as I parked, I noticed exactly the same car, just of a different color. There was a free space next to it, but I didn't have time to feel the dimensions properly, and, in general, slightly hit the bumper of the other Jaguar. The alarm went off. A guy ran out of nowhere. He was furious, started yelling like crazy. Who did this? Everyone stared at him. And I, standing next to him, said very quietly, I'm sorry, it's my fault. He turned to me, was quiet for a second, and then coughed and apologized for his tone. Did you hit my car? Yes, I'm sorry. Please, I just got behind the wheel of my Jaguar for the first time and I didn't manage to park properly. I'll pay for it. Is this your car? Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. Well, it happens. It's okay, really. I got a little angry. Sorry about that. Are you going to the party? That's how we got to know each other. I wrote him a check to repair the car that night. Nathan behaved like a true gentleman, wooing me all night. He kept getting me juice, water, offering me salads, and asking me to dance. At the end of the night, he suggested we go for a little drive around town. We met in a very nice park. Though I had lived in the city for many years, but I didn't know we had such beautiful mini parks to walk around in. We sat on a bench and chatted for a couple of hours straight. He made me laugh so hard. He was attentive, asking questions about me, about my family. I told him like it was, that my mom and I lived with my stepdad in his mansion, and that I was going to a prestigious college. My mom doesn't work, she's a housewife, and my stepdad is a businessman. Nathan told me that his parents work overseas, that he lives here with his aunt, and that he's also in college. But he's still in distance learning. Nathan was so cool and kind and complimented me a lot. He kept saying that he was surprised we hadn't met before at the elite youth hangouts. It was the middle of the night, and I said that it was time to go home. But he suddenly got up from the bench and offered to take another walk. I said I was tired and my feet hurt from the heels. Then, he picked me up in his arms and walked me in a few circles. I laughed and asked him to put me down. But he said that if my feet hurt, he would carry me in his arms. What girl wouldn't be won over by that? Don't you agree? We went on our second date the next day. Nathan didn't come to see me very often. There were times when he had exams to study for and sat at home around the clock. But when he was free, all his attention was devoted to me alone. We went out a lot and often ate ice cream. Nathan may come from a rich family, but he opened to me a whole world of delicious and cheap food. He said he used to run away from home and pretend to be homeless to see another life through his eyes. Passers-by would buy him something to eat, and it was funny. I was amazed at his energy and willingness to experiment. And that's how almost a year went by, without a trace. I was very happy. Nathan never once came to my house. He thought that it was not nice to behave that way, and said he would only come when he proposed. Oh, how romantic that sounded. I have to admit that our relationship blew my mind. I no longer wanted to study. I wanted to marry him, have kids and sit at home, cook, meet him from work. I wanted to let him take care of me. That thought made me happy, but not my mother. One day she got a notice from college that I was failing 4 classes, and I had exams coming up. My mom got mad and said that she was going to forbid me to date the guy since he had such a bad influence on me. She took away my phone. I was hysterical. How could you do this to me? I can and I will. I am your mother. The That doesn't give you the right to interfere with my personal life. Your personal life will ruin your whole future. I decide what it will be. Nathan and I will get married and be happy. Who is this guy anyway? And why have I never heard about his parents? Why haven't I met them at our general training camp at the polo club? How would I know? Maybe because you patronize me too much and don't notice the others. I just want you to have a better future than me. And this is coming from a woman who never worked all her life, but was always swimming in money. Mom, your diamond on your necklace weighs more than you. You married a rich guy, then a stepfather, and you were never poor. Yes, except that your father is poor now. He doesn't even have money to feed himself, and your stepfather is not your own father. He has children, and all the inheritance will go to them, not to you. And I don't need it. I'm giving it all up because I have Nathan, and he's rich and handsome and smart. I tossed the keys to the Jaguar and went on a date with Nathan. On the way out, he called and said his car broke down and asked me to pick him up. Then I informed him that I didn't have a car now. He came to pick me up in a cab, and we went for a walk. I told Nathan that I had a fight with my mom, and he started to comfort me. So you've given up on everything? Yes, I do not need their handouts. I know that together with you, I will achieve even more. Right, my love? Of course, honey. Let her and my stepfather know that I don't want anything from them. I got chilly and I asked Nathan to lend me a sweater. We walked to my house and I kissed him and took off my sweatshirt to give to him. A box fell out of my inside pocket. Nathan grabbed it in his hands, but I already knew what it meant. My heart began to race, and he noticed it. Come on, honey, get on your knee, I told him. He was confused, stood up and pulled out the ring and was silent. And I couldn't believe my happiness. Just as luck would have it, my mom came out and Nathan at that moment, "Will you marry me, Mrs. Ginger?" What? What? Huh? There was silence in the air. We stood there like idiots staring at each other. A little while later, Nathan got up from his knees and addressed my mother. "You are such a gorgeous woman. Is that Gucci and Jimmy Choo shoes? Unreal." I interrupted his comments with a rude, "Hey, you were actually proposing to me?" Nathan blinked, looked over at me, and was like, "Oh, sorry, I should probably go. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Ginger." After that, he disappeared, didn't answer his phone, and I got really nervous. My mom was acting weird too. It was like she was avoiding me. A week later, I realized that it was like everyone around me knew something but me. But I was so freaked out about Nathan that I didn't know what to do. So I decided to take a walk to the park where our date had taken place. As I got there, I heard Nathan's voice and someone else's. "Mom? Nathan? What the hell are you doing here?" "Honey, it's not what you think. I can explain." "What? I don't need any explaining." I ran out of there in tears. I couldn't believe that my mom had an affair with my freaking boyfriend. I ran home and started packing. I wanted to get the hell out of there, away from everybody. But then my mom came over. First, she apologized, and then she forced me into a chair and made me listen. She said that Nathan had been writing and calling to her all the time since that meeting, showering her with compliments. I couldn't believe it. But that wasn't all. She said that she had met with him to talk to him and rejected him, but he was too stubborn. Here's the thing, honey, your mother has been married more than once and knows a thing or two about men. I've hired an agent to follow Nathan and figure out what he wants. What are you talking about? Have you ever been to his house? Have you seen where he lives? Have you ever heard him talking to mom or dad on the phone? What do you know about him at all? I wondered, and nothing. Even though we'd been dating together for a year, my mom came up with this plan. So, according to the plan, my mother rudely replied to Nathan's message, as if to reject him. Then he immediately called me, asking me to meet him. He said he was sorry, that he had made a mistake, that something had came over him. Then I asked questions about his family, and he answered briefly, and then changed the subject. I cried sharply and told him that my mother was divorcing my stepfather because she had cheated on him. My stepfather said he was going to take every penny from us, and we have nowhere to live. I don't know what to do. Maybe while your parents are gone, we can stay with you? You must have a mansion just as big as ours, I told him. Nathan's eyes fluttered open, and then he pretended to get a phone call from college. He kissed me and promised to call. A couple of hours later, the agent my mom hired brought us pictures that clearly showed Nathan living in a poor neighborhood, sometimes moonlighting as a car washer. So that's where he got his Jaguar. It was someone else's. Nathan lives with his mother, doesn't go to school, sometimes works. His mother works at a dry cleaner's, from where she lets her son wear expensive suits when he's on the lookout for a purse girl. And that's why we went out so often and had so much instead of going out to restaurants. Of course, I was disgusted and hurt, but at least I learned the truth. I drove to his house in my Jaguar, and he was so shocked when I opened the door. I threw him the sweatshirt he had forgotten and said, "Give it back to the owner, or your mom will get fired for stealing stuff," and drove away. Since then, he is no longer in my life, which I'm glad of. Beware of liars, girls. Tell me, guys, did you like my story? Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to share the video.